chat is. Maybe. Chat. Okay.
This is the chat panel. This is the people panel. Click here, right on the left panel. Start chatting and clicking or creating a channel on the panel. Where's the?
Oh, here you go.
Where?
No, yeah, there's like a thing that just showed up.
QA. Where?
It's so complicated.
Yeah, like
Maybe 100 more. Chat. Yeah, that's the right place. There's.
all right. Just gonna put these windows around here. Oh, looks like we're live over here.
Neat.
Seeing us over there.
Okay, it's this. Okay.
Okay, hello everybody. First up, thank you so much, Dale, and everyone at Make who's putting together this virtually Maker Fair around the world and 24 hours. Thank you so much. This is a good time to bring everyone together, share what people are making and doing. And we're taking a little bit of a break from being at the Adafruit factory. A lot of people know us, but if you don't, I'm Phil Trone, the managing director at Adafruit, formerly the senior editor at Make, founder of Hackaday, and a few other stuff.
I'm Lamar, also known as Lady Ada, and I do electronic hardware design and manufacturing here at Adafruit, and I've been doing open source hardware for about 15 years now.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Today, our presentation is pivoting in the pandemic. We've been talking.
Very alliterative.
Yeah, we've been talking to some local businesses. We've been doing a lot of work in New York City. Just to let everyone know where we are. We're on 150 Varick in Manhattan. Sometimes
West Soho.
Yeah, sometimes people think we're in Brooklyn. We're not.
No, we're not in Queens either. We love them, but we're not there.
We've always been in Manhattan in some way. And the talk that we're going to do today, and we'll leave plenty of time for questions and more, is pivoting in the pandemic, retooling and providing large quantities and a wide array of PPE, you've heard that term a lot, personal protective equipment, and electronics for medical devices and more in New York City and beyond. But first, I would like to do some happy birthdays.
Happy birthday to you, Make.
Well, birthdays are important now.
Yeah.
We have a weekly all-company meeting called State of the Fruit.
Yeah.
And now it's virtual, just like virtual Maker Fair.
Yes.
And a while ago, someone said, I don't really want everyone to know my birthday. And since then, everyone wants everyone to know their birthdays because a birthday is a special thing. And any year you're still doing and making and sharing, it's more important than ever. So first up, happy birthday Maker Fair. During this pandemic, April 22nd, Maker Fair had a birthday. And then as of right now,
we were the first one.
We were the first one.
Yeah.
I still have my Make shirt,
Ooh.
part of the crew. Part of the crew. I want to give a shout out to Sherry and Luis and the entire Maker Fair team who was there. That was a scary day.
Yeah, it was fun.
Not the same way this has been scary, but it was a different scary because we didn't know what was going to happen. Make the magazine just had started.
Yeah. You didn't even know how many people were going to show up.
Didn't know how many people were going to show up. And I just want to say thank you to everyone out there who not only started this thing, but you don't know what's going to happen when you start a thing like Maker Fair. And look what's happening, 14 years later. Things change, but a lot of things stay the same.
That's right.
And then also, as of right now, this very second, Adafruit just turned 15. And
yes, I filed my articles of incorporation 2005,
Yeah.
May 23rd.
We're still standing. We got through a Sandy that knocked Adafruit out briefly. We got through and getting through this first part of a global pandemic. So it's been a road, but there's a path and we're on it. And so that's what this is about. On like March 16th or so, Adafruit was a little bit different. We were ahead of what looked like was going to be a shutdown. We had reduced capacity from 50% to 25%.
Sent all the teleworkers home.
Yeah, we were doing reduced occupancy and staggered shifts, and we had a pretty good PPE game already before this started. And one of the reasons is we talked to our factory partners over in Asia, and they said, "Hey, this thing is real." The media and the news weren't covering it in a way that we could tell what was really happening. So we were talking to people on the ground.
Yeah.
So in Shenzhen, in Wuhan, we had a PCB manufacturer that said, "We're shut down." It's like, in order for that to happen, it's real. Yeah. It was real. So we saw that and we knew something was going to happen. How fast it would happen and how long it would happen was a little unsure, but we had some guesses. And as this was happening, we're friends with Bruce Sterling. A lot of people know Bruce, science fiction writer.
He show up at Maker Faire.
Fixtures of Austin.
Maker Faire Austin for sure.
And also Adafruit friend for a long time. And once in a while, he's kind of like in an orbit in our lives.
Like literally, he's in a spaceship.
And we said, "Hey, how are you?" I wanted to make sure he was okay. And I said, "How you doing?" And as we were talking, he said something that we still think about now. Adversity reveals character. And a lot of the things that happened in New York and a lot of things that happened with Adafruit, a lot of things that we're probably all seeing, it didn't change us or didn't change people, didn't change companies. It just revealed what they were all along. And so I think that's why we're seeing a lot of strength in the maker community. And that's why I think we're seeing a lot of weakness in some companies, corporations, governments, and more, because there was already cracks, there was already weakness there.
Yeah. Makers have good, strong characters.
Yeah, the pandemic didn't change those things. It just revealed it.
Teamwork, reuse, recycling, that's something makers are good at.
Speaking of, just for that guy on Twitter, don't worry, this photo was taken before the pandemic. Don't tell us the social distance. This photo was taken before the pandemic. So we're 135 people. We didn't do any layoffs. We haven't done any layoffs, and we're not doing any layoffs. No furloughing, no cut hours. We're paying everyone, all the employees, all the contractors, even the cleaning service that they've been growing up with us, because if they don't get paid, their team doesn't get paid, and then they're in a really tough financial situation. It was the right thing to do. It is the right thing to do, and it's painful and expensive. So please place an order on adafruit.com. But one thing we wanted to do is prepare after Sandy, because we had a little bit of money in the bank during Sandy for an emergency, and we used it. And then we said, okay, this is going to happen again. It's either going to be a terrorist attack, it's going to be another Mother Nature getting back at us because we're not so great to the planet sometimes, or it's going to be something else, unknown. So what we wanted to do is make sure we can outlast something that is going to get us. So this is really hard. It's really tough. For the folks who know us, we published this on our blog. Our revenue has been 50% and lower, and we're crawling back. But one thing I also wanted to stress is we've been operating safely. We were deemed an essential business. I'll talk about that in a second. But so far, no one's gotten sick. No one's gotten infected. Our team that was on site before, during, and after has gotten antibody tests.
So did we.
So did we. We've been there every single day except for, I think, 2 days since March 16th. And negative antibody test doesn't mean you're invincible. Even if you had a positive one and you got over it, it's just good information. But we're very proud that none of our team got sick, none of our team got infected, none of our team came down with anything. And it just means that it is possible to operate safely. So, and I can talk about protocols at the end if folks want. So again, here's a photo taken pre-COVID when Lady Ada is in the factory. Lady Ada wears mask and gloves all the time.
Yeah.
This is Lamar in front of the machines. So we got a call for help around like March 17th or 18th from the New York City Economic Development Corporation. And that is New York City's arm of getting things done. They look out for businesses. They have contacts with all the businesses, and they called, it was a Saturday night, and said, we need thousands of face shields by Monday. Can you do it?
Yeah.
How much? How many? Can you do it? Because doctors are on the front line and they are going to die. nurses are on the front line. They're going to die. Can you do this? And we had just paused operations. We had just sent everyone home. We did an Ask an Engineer on a Wednesday night. It's our weekly show we've been doing for a decade. And leading up to this, we thought that there was a good chance New York might be shut down for 3 months. So right now we're in month 2. Looks like that might be a pretty good estimate.
It's gonna be about 3 months, yeah.
Looks like it might be 3 months. And they asked us, can you possibly do this? And we said, well, what type of materials? What type of tools? What type of things are required for this? So we needed laser cutters, got it. We needed a large facility where people could stay distant and safe while they're doing this.
Work tables,
Got
we
it.
got that.
We needed foam, we needed elastic. So like, well, we source all this stuff.
Yeah, we had
We could do it.
suppliers that had the stuff already. We actually, what's funny is the elastic we used is the same elastic from the previous Ada box. We put some elastic in the Ada box. We already had a supplier.
Yeah. So we had the talent, we had the team, we had the materials. So we said, okay, we can do this. So we sprung into action. Along the way, there was things like, can you make ventilators? Can you make things like medical devices? Can you help us with electronics that we use right now in a research capacity for infectious diseases that we get from Adafruit? Can you continue to make those? So the answer is, yeah, we can do all that. But boy, did we learn a lot along the way. So this photo was taken post-COVID. So we have posters of more around the office. So we put masks and stuff on them. Turns out there was a material shortage. Everyone in the US and planet Earth started to buy up this plastic that we needed. So I want to give a shout out to Novalex and Bill, who helped get this plastic here. We had a literal ton of plastic that showed up at Adafruit while we were getting other plastics at the same time. Thank you so much. This for sure helped to protect the frontline workers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So that was one of the things that we needed to solve, and that got solved. So we heard that phrase, your net worth is your network.
Yeah.
Well, we reached out to every person we knew and we said, there's a specific type of plastic we need. The Department of Health in New York said, this is the one we need.
Yeah.
We sent over a sample to the New York Department of Health. They said, this is great. We had doctors that were contacting us directly. Yeah, there you go. That said, can we come by and pick up some? We're desperate. Elmhurst, Mount Sinai. So New York City, we got hit the hardest first in the US, besides like Washington. And when you hear a doctor say, can I come by tonight at midnight between shifts to get some of these to bring back to my team? We're desperate. Like,
yeah.
So we had around the clock we were working. We got the plastic in. We started making these right away. We made sure that we were safe. Now, this was like March, and it was really unclear. Is this thing going to seep under your door and infect you?
Yeah.
Okay, don't touch hands. Okay, great. Don't touch anything. Okay, can't breathe ever. You know,
Yeah.
there were so many things, and it was so scary. And this was before we had a lot of information. It's still scary. But we had to like operate with a very small team. And then we had to figure out how do we not get ourselves sick? How do we not get each other infected? Who's sick? I don't know. Is there testing? None. And it was help as many people as you can, but also try to stay safe at the same time. Here's a little bit of a time lapse from the team. I'll show this. And I'm going to answer some questions as we go along in the QA and then also in the chat. We do a weekly show, so we can multitask. So this is some of the team members here. I want to give a shout out to Dano, who helped lead these efforts. And then, of course, also Garrett, our COO, Travis, Trevor, Colin, Isaac, Michelle, everyone on the team, Vance, who just were able to operate safe and smart the entire time, and also get the PPE when it was needed the most during the peaks, and just worked around the clock. So thank you, team, for that. You can see a few of them there. So here's some of the doctors. Some of the doctors we became really good friends with now, and they've helped us out quite a bit on our protocols and more. During the time when we were doing no contact deliveries, they're like, can we pay you? Because we were doing our partnership with the city. And just so everyone knows, we sold ours below cost to the city. We thought that was the right thing to do. We had our team that wanted to help anyways. So we said, look, we know we need to bill you. Let's just figure out below cost and do that. So what we asked for the doctors is like, hey, if these are working out for you, do a doctor selfie. So we did that in exchange. So speaking of the team making these, question from the chat was, how do you get your workers to work safely? Is the commute one of the highest safety risks they face? The answer so far is no. If you're a fan of the daily New York government broadcast from Mayor Cuomo, so the subways and mass transit wasn't where people were getting or now aren't getting infected for essential workers. Mm-hmm. Turns out that's not the threat vector. What we did right away was we had team members who wanted to come in and help. We were deemed an essential business. Can you take a bike in? Can you take a car in? What are your ways to get in that minimize the risk?
Every flexible hours. Some people took the train, but they took it off peak hours.
Every Adafruit team member, whether you're on site or not, gets PPE sent to their home. So KN95 masks, all sorts of blue surgical masks, even for their kids, gloves, thermometers. So every day we have a full protocol that we have stuck to over the last 80 days. Mm-hmm. And so far, no infections, no illnesses, and everyone before, during, and after this so far who's tested for antibodies has not been exposed.
Yeah.
When I got the antibody test, I've gotten it twice now. I'm like, wow, I hope I had it so I can like donate blood and help people. Maybe have super antibodies, but I'll take it. I'm glad, whatever. So the biggest safety risk that we all seem to face right now is avoid crowds, avoid talking to each other's face, and avoid any type of close, long period of time.
So we spread out at desks. Nobody works next to each other.
Yeah,
Nobody
everyone
works
has a mask.
facing each other.
Everyone has gloves.
We do our meetings all on video.
Yeah, sanitizing inside and out of the door. And we have a very strict protocol that we've stuck to. It's definitely more extreme than any of the CDC guidance or any of the guidance we've seen. But if anyone wants to know our protocols, it's on our website.
Let's keep the windows open because it's nice.
Yeah, and then just nice speaking of these relationships we made with the doctors are really important to us because early on, one of the doctors said, hey, watch out for shared restrooms. And we decided to do a very intense bleaching every night. We still do that. And we also make sure we've instructed the team when you flush with the lid down because that aerosols things. Now, our capacity right now is we don't even have 10 people on site at the same time. We have different floors and everything. But it's kept us safe, so we're not changing it. So I think as businesses try to figure out what to do, you have a playbook that we know works for us. Mm-hmm. So check it out on Adafruit. And like I said, I can answer more questions about that. I'm the one who bleaches every night. So I'm all into this. I'm full in. So these are some of the heroes that were able to get the face shields and more. And then what happened was, hey, Adafruit, do you have ventilators? And then we got calls from everyone on planet Earth. We don't make ventilators, but turns out we make components that go into ventilators or medical devices.
Yeah.
And they really needed them. And the thing that we didn't know, because like when people place orders on Adafruit, they're getting feathers and it goes to a medical research group in New York. We didn't know that they were working on all these things before this or things like it. So it turns out we had to pivot and do that too.
Yeah.
And the New York City government said, what can you do that gets electronic components to all these places? So pre-COVID photo, that's Michelle, that's Vance. They are two of the people that have been on site helping out. They have been running the machines. They were also making face shields. Can we make electronics that go into all these things? And the answer is yes. Can we make electronics that we can do same day, no contact delivery to anyone in New York State? Yes. That's what we signed up to do. That's what we did. So in the first 3 or 4 weeks, it was 10,000 components, then 20,000, then 40,000 components, all the different parts, all the different things that Adafruit makes going out for same day delivery. And if you want to look up some of the things, here's one of the FDA certified. This is the Milano, I believe it was called, or it was another one.
Ventilato or something.
Yeah, there's a few that are.
This is the Italian one now.
Yeah, it was made in USA, and now it's the low cost version is available around the world. This got fast tracked on the FDA certification. Shout out to Saul Griffith who introduced us to some folks, and then also New Labs who was coordinating a lot of these things. One of the ventilators we know for a fact, the pig test that they did, a little gross. Sorry, everybody. They intubate a pig, and if the pig survives, yeah, you passed the pig test. And all the things that we made for those things, the pig survived. Pig had a bad day at work that day, but pig survived, and those are in there. Also, around the world, there was a need for our electronics. This is another one that uses Feather. And this is you can go on our website and look at the videos. This one was used, and hopefully they're not going to need to be used.
Yeah.
But they needed to build up capacity, and these are some of the ones. We really wanted to focus after all the New York City and New York State requests were fulfilled, is how do we get low cost electronics out to the rest of the world? They're never going to be able to afford a $40,000 ventilator. And then some of the more newer things, this just came in. There's a lot of scientists and researchers that have pivoted away from like the Zika stuff that they were working on, and now they're doing viral detection with sensors and smartphones and more. And if you zoom in really close, you can see this is Adafruit hardware. So we used to get emails like, hey, I saw your stuff on a science fiction show. Now it's like, I saw your stuff in my local news because they're using it for COVID-19 testing or verification or viral load sensors.
Therapies, whatever.
All these different things. So we were able to do that as well. Then, okay, can you ship out stuff all the time? So we had to figure out what was the best way to have staggered shifts. And this was before, people started talking about some of this guidance. There's Lady Ada and I, we were shipping on site. We had a pretty good same day delivery game with our building, and then also some of the local, Uber, Lyfts, and others that were doing same day delivery. We had a pretty good pipeline going to different locations in New York City that needed things really fast. There were times when we were making something in the morning, testing it at night, and then handing off for delivery later on in the night. And so I wanted to just show you some of the character of some of the people that have been doing this. A lot of us are artists and musicians and photographers, and that's probably going to be a hard thing to do in New York for a bit. Not going to be a lot of concerts. So some of our folks, this is from Michelle, and the background music you're going to be able to lightly hear is from a local band. These are just some of the team members from Adafruit that the character was revealed. They came in. There was a lot of unknowns at the time, and they came in, they shipped, they made electronics, they made face shields. They took care of each other. We did smart and safe protocols that have continued to keep us safe. And these are just some of the faces. We'll continue to put their stories up on our site and tell their stories. And it was scary. You have to solve a tough problem. There was some engineering problems. Lady Ada was reviewing circuit board designs around the clock as everyone's like, okay, we need to make all these ventilators fast. We need to make all these components fast. Can you design a motor control thing? Can you review a design fast? So we're like day 80 or so of this, and a lot of things have happened. And so some people are asking us what's next, because a lot of other parts of the country. So right now we're helping local companies build resilient workforces for smart and safe return to work. We're in called What's Hudson Square. If you zoom in, if you look really close, you can see a Lady Ada there underneath our mayor in New York City. Lamore was appointed to the New York City Mayor's Council. I'm personally excited for that because having an engineer like Lamore with protocols for our business that have worked, being able to share that with other businesses is kind of what you want. We're an open source company. Everything we do, we publish. Also, everything we do is scrutinized, and everything we do has data on the other side of it. So we're very proud that no one got sick. We're very pleased. We're very happy. We're also worried about overconfidence too. So, this virus doesn't take a vacation. It's not taken off this weekend either. So we have to continue to stay vigilant. And, you've seen our team. We're tough, we're smart, and we're going to continue to open safely. The other things that we've done is we made our own contact tracing app. You can't call it that because the App Store won't let you do it. So it's a path recorder. And it's for each person individually, privacy first. So if something happens to Lady Ada and I, we have a full record of where we've been, our temperature every day, and all the things that you want to hand off to a contact tracer. So anyone on the Adafruit team has that. And then we're publishing our protocols. If you want and you know someone and you're in the Eastern Alliance, we're also selling all the PPE. So we had to stock all the stuff for ourselves, and we wanted to make sure, because we're an importer of goods around the world. So part one of it was, let's get pulse oximeters in, let's get home thermometers in because we send those to our team. Let's get fever scanners in because we know we're going to need those at the door. Let's get masks. Let's get, if you can hand me that there. So we're stockpiling for the city, all of the face shields. We also have these for sale for a whopping cost of $10. And that's a pack of 4. So we wanted to make sure we would never be in that situation again where you're getting a phone call and you're getting told, can you help? People are going to die. Can you manufacture? Can you make things? So that's available at adafruit.com/PPE. And that's our story. We're going to go back to work, but we're going to answer some questions right now. So, okay, cool. Kat said, thanks. It's a good strategy for other businesses that are opening now. And next, do you feel that there will be permanent changes on how you'll work at your location? Yes. Or do you think there will be a return to normal? So there's no such thing as return to normal. There's no such thing.
Not for years.
All there is coming back in the smart ways that make sense to keep people safe. And so there is an entire opportunity out there to become better companies. You can do things for your team that you've always wanted to do. So for the folks who have not been on site, who only had on-site jobs, we didn't lay them off. We didn't fire them. We didn't furlough them. We didn't cut their hours. We said, let's use this time to train you up to be a digital and an information worker in addition to your on-site role that you'll have when you return.
Yeah.
So there's a digital divide that you always say, oh, I wish you could just press pause and, train a workforce. So now our workforce can do more things that they've ever been able to do before. More tools. Everyone wants to learn a little bit of programming. We were able to add things like that with our team. And then next up, are you testing employees or trusting them to self-police? So if you have symptoms, you get tested in New York. New York has the most tests. Our healthcare plan, we made sure that there's testing for every employee. Within a 7-minute walk, anyone can get tested from Adafruit. For antibody testing, same thing. And then in every borough. So right now, New York has over 740 plus locations for free testing.
Yeah, across the state. Yeah.
Our current problem right now in New York is we have too many tests and not
people
enough,
are going out to test.
And not enough people are getting tested. One other thing.
Tests are free too.
Tests are free. And even if they weren't, Adafruit would pay for them for our team. So what we do is anyone who's coming in, they take their temperature in the morning before they leave with a thermometer we sent them. And that's just one level of, fever isn't just the only thing. But people have been paying attention to their symptoms now or like how they're feeling. Mm-hmm. And so far, either we're smarter or we're lucky, but no one's gotten sick. No one's come down with anything. We just got our healthcare report from Aetna that says our utilization, no one got sick. Mm-hmm. No one got infected. We did have a team member who's a relative got ill, and because they had the PPE that we were able to supply them, they were able to take care of the relative and they never got sick.
Yeah, sick, yeah.
So
it's possible.
Yeah. And so one thing that, it's not mandatory yet, which is testing, high-speed testing, because that's just not available. But if it comes up one day, that's something that we would make available to their team, and we would make sure we'd work with them for it to make the most sense. There'll probably be at-home tests that people will be able to do soon.
Yeah.
But the best thing is wear a mask. It works. Wear gloves. It works. If you're commuting, mask, gloves, sanitize all the time, every time. And turns out it's possible. Turns out you can survive. Here it is. Do you have any plans to make or create a sensor that emits a scent if employees have the loss of taste or smell? Well, here's an interesting thing. Maybe it's just the Adafruit culture.
Coffee.
So everybody in our team, we always, if we smell something, we tell each other. And our team, I would say, is the most vocal about things that are going on. If someone can't smell, we would know that even before they would say, hey, what's that funny smell?
Yeah.
So we do electronic manufacturing. You're kind of always thinking like, oh, what's that smell? Because you don't want something.
I'm always looking out for burning PCBs and burning toaster ovens.
Yeah.
That's like the two things that take you out.
Yeah. So if there's sensors that would help out with that, but I also think, you need to get trust, you have to give trust. And I think if you have a good culture and team that you didn't furlough, that you didn't lay off, that you didn't say, okay, we're cutting your hours. If you have a team that's motivated to make something work, they're all looking out for each other and all paying attention to make sure that they can return safe. So we'll see. That's our story right now. If there's more questions, it looks like we hit a lot of them, but we're on time and on budget.
Yay!
For this. If Make has anything for us, we'll stick around. Otherwise, we're gonna go back to work. And I just wanted to say thanks again to Dale and everyone at Make for putting this together. I think this was very needed. And as an old timer in the Make world,
yeah, we're like the old souls.
Yeah, you never know what your actions are going to do down the road. The ripple effects.
Yeah.
Make being around, available, and bringing all these people together.
Yeah.
About 15 years later, this is really important for a lot of folks. If you look at makers, millions and millions and millions of face shields, millions and millions and millions of things got out there. Sometimes local and state governments, it's not that it's malicious, it's just they're not able to move as fast as all of us. We were the Band-Aid, sometimes literally, for a lot of the efforts needed. Next up, another question came in. Will this be recorded, posted somewhere?
It's on YouTube.
I'm watching this on youtube.com/make/live. And the way it works is after a live session, this will be on the Make channel.
Yeah.
I know that because I started the Make channel a million years ago. So youtube.com/make. It'll be there.
Subscribe.
It'll be there later. And that's where you can get it. And if you need any of the protocols that I talked about, adafruit.com/opensafely. And you can download our protocols that get updated all the time. You can see the regions that we're shipping PPE to right now. And you can get an idea of where we're shipping and what we're doing. Now, things might change. If there's other waves, we'll say, hey, we're scaling back. We're only doing PPE. We're only doing essential goods. Right now, we can do all of the orders in between the essential goods and PPE. So that's the fast and flexible type of workforce and type of company you're going to have to become.
Yeah.
Because ain't no treatment, ain't no vaccine. All we have is each other right now. And when you look over, make sure that person has mask and gloves because it's helping you.
Helping them, helping you.
That's right.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Make, you got anything for us before we hit whatever leave button on this Zoom machine? Make.
Is there a big M?
All right. Someone wants one of those. I think one of those sensors for their front door at school. I think this is it.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Stay safe.
Okay.
It's great hanging out virtually. Try the paella.
Bye, everybody.